Welcome to Week 4 Thursday Night Football. I am your host, PropHolliday. I'm your host, Bobby Stanley, also known as PropHolliday, here with the GoldBoys to give you my favorite player props for our Cowboys and Giants football game this evening in MetLife Stadium. A little bit cloudy here in New Jersey, not raining yet, but rain is expected. So keep that in mind with your handicaps. Before I go into my opening monologue, got a little bit of disinformation about Christian McCaffrey. That he went to Germany, he met with someone, and it may be pushed out a couple more months. What does that mean? Is that November? Is that December? Could that be January? When is the next time we're going to see Christian McCaffrey? Who knows? The Germans do a very good job of working on the Achilles tendons. I think Kobe Bryant went over there. I think KD went over there. They do something with blood doping where they take blood out of your body, they infuse it with some things, they put it back in, it improves and quickens the recovery process from what I've read. So whatever they saw, they weren't happy about. But there is conflicting information out there that no new updates may have happened with Christian McCaffrey. Either way, as a Rams fan, sit on the sidelines, man. Jordan Mason still kicking ass. Opening monologue. Matthew Sluka has decided to leave UNLV after not receiving $100,000 verbally promised to him by the offensive coordinator in the offseason. He was given $3,000 in moving costs and promised a $3,000 per month stipend for the season, totaling $12,000. So he is wondering, where's the other $88,000 I was promised? The promise was made by UNLV, but cannot be paid out by UNLV. But the university's collective can pay that out. The head coach was not aware of the $100K promise. The offensive coordinator has refused to comment on this when questioned by ESPN. The UNLV collective also reiterates they were not aware of any verbal commitments made to Sluka in the recruitment process. So he has left the UNLV, Running Rebels? They're 3-0. They're ranked 23rd in the nation. They're 3-0 for the first time since 1983. And he goes, you didn't pay me, I'm out. And this is kind of the first iteration of this because NIL is so new and now the business of college football is a business, but there's still a lot of gray areas. Now, Sluka's agent and father appear to be backing their son. No surprise. He simply wants what he was promised. He's not asking for an increase. The vagueness of what the NIL is makes this verbal offer kind of a he said, she said thing. There's nothing in writing they have there. Schools are prohibited to pay directly, but the collectives can. There's no contract here for them to speak of. As a part of a current pending antitrust lawsuit, the NCAA has agreed to allow schools to pay players directly. If that settlement is approved in court, the new system has the potential to give both players and teams more security by allowing them to enter in more direct contracts. Thus, this wouldn't happen in, say, a year or two from now, whenever this antitrust lawsuit goes through. Who knows? UNLV is 3-0, 3-0 for the first time in 84. I mentioned that, ranked 23rd. Sluka, 21 of 48, 318 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception this season. His first with the Running Rebels. He was a transfer. He also rushed 39 times for 286 yards and a score. Who's right here? This is going to be kind of the first of many situations, it feels like, where I should have got this, or the instance where you see players like, I deserve to get paid more because X got paid this, I deserve Y. This is still so new, and this is kind of the first thing. I always tend to side with the players. I always have. I could see where the school's like, we have no control over this. The school can't pay them. The collective has. The collective saying they're not paying them. The collective brings these players in to give the results that Sluka has provided. 3-0 for the first time in 30 or 40 years. They're ranked for the first time in I don't know how long. So if he was promised this, it was to give these results. Why wouldn't you pay him? I really don't have a side here. I'm just curious how it plays out. I don't cover a lot of college football, but I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. Let's talk about tonight's game. Dallas -5.5 on the road against the Giants. Total sitting at 45.5. Like I said, as I sit here, I'm about a 30-minute drive from MetLife Stadium. It's cloudy. Rain looks like it's going to happen eventually. Both teams only win this season against the Cleveland Browns, and with every snap Deshaun Watson takes, that win looks less and less valuable. Dallas has fallen behind early in both of their losses. They did make a run last week against Baltimore in the fourth quarter. I'm curious if they come out a little bit more up-tempo because they have that level of success. They smacked the Giants last season. It was 40-0 in the earlier game in the season. I think it was like 47-19 in their second meeting. So recently, Dallas owns the Giants. This defense, though, under Mike Zimmer, former Minnesota Vikings coach, now Dan Quinn left. This Mike Zimmer defense looks like dog shit, guys. I don't know another way to put it nicely. They are god-awful against the run, and it's been a domino effect across the entire performance. If you can successfully get away with running the football, now you're eating clock. You're giving the ball back to Dak with less time to operate. Now your decisions become a little bit more compounding. You're playing from behind. It becomes a little bit more obvious. So if they come out hot is something I'm going to watch for the Dallas Cowboys. On the Giants side of the ball, they look bad in week 1 against Minnesota. That loss doesn't look as bad now that we know that Minnesota appears to be legit. Jones didn't look good in that game, but he's shown signs of life over the last 2 weeks, going 1-1. That loss to Washington also looks less bad after seeing what Washington did to Cincinnati on Monday Night Football. Neighbors looks every bit of the part of a stud wide receiver 1. I think he's coming off 2 touchdowns last week. Shout out to Kilkenny. My guy gave out the 2 tutties and laid some money on it. So that was a nice hit by him. Devin Singletary, running back for the New York Giants, 4.6 yards per carry, but 2 fumbles on the season. Kind of always been Singletary's crux as he can't hold on to the football. As far as spread and leans, picking the Cowboys tonight to win by more than a touchdown. So I would lay the 5.5. I think they get on track against a weaker team. The Giants are missing Adoree Jackson and Drew Phillips. That's their cornerback 2 and their slot corner. Some shuffling going to be done in the back end of that Giants secondary. CeeDee Lamb firing on all cylinders this season out of the slot. So a lot of people are going to be on CeeDee Lamb tonight. I'm on him in a different type of an angle. His line got juiced. I think it opened up at 76.5. It's like 78.5 now. But for good reason. It's just not somewhere I'm going to touch at 78.5. It still may be another play for him. Before I get into anything on CeeDee Lamb, I have my first defensive player prop of the season. Eric Kendricks, Dallas linebacker, over 8.5 tackles. I got it at -120. I still think it's like -130. This is a 1-unit play for me for Kendricks. Available at -130 on DK as of late last night. Haven't checked this morning, but as long as it's at 8.5, you could play it. I don't mind the juice there. Middle linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys in this new Mike Zimmer defense. We talk about how bad they've been. Zimmer brought Kendricks over from Minnesota. He was actually a first-round pick, if I remember correctly, out of UCLA, I want to say. Someone can double-check me on that. Pretty sure it was UCLA. It was the 12th over. He is currently 12th overall in the league in tackles. 2 sacks, 1 interception, all through 3 games. He's hit this line in 2 of 3 games. The reason I'm on it this week at the 8.5 has to do with the mobile quarterback factor of Daniel Jones. So Kendricks posted a season-high 12 tackles last week against Baltimore and Lamar Jackson. Went back to NFL Pro. Shout out to NFL Pro. It was a round 2 pick. Tone, thank you so much, but I was right about UCLA. Fitty. Kendrick posted the season-high 12 tackles last week against Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson being a mobile quarterback, he was able to get it done on the ground last week. Watched every single tackle Kendricks had in that game, 3 of which came against Lamar. And I think what teams are going to do against a Micah Parsons to completely neutralize his rush, because he can ruin a game like a TJ Watt, they're going to draw more scripted runs. So I do think we're going to see more scripted runs for Daniel Jones tonight. That's more opportunities. So if you take away those 3 tackles from Lamar Jackson, Kendrick still lands at 9, which is this number. So I like Eric Kendricks tonight over the 8.5 tackles. I think it sets up well. These planned runs plus the addition of Dallas just being the worst rush defense in the league by a country mile should give Kendricks enough opportunities to cruise passes. This is tackles plus assists. So those gang tackles where he jumps in late, assuming they give it to him, count. That is my first play for this evening is Eric Kendricks over 8.5 tackles. You can get it at Bet365. You can get it at DraftKings. But let's talk about FanDuel, because FanDuel is where my next play is. But folks, if you're looking to get started with FanDuel, who has never heard of FanDuel, there's no better time than now. Place a $5 bet, and if your bet wins, you will receive $150 in bonus bets. It's an incredible way to kickstart your betting journey with FanDuel. Head over to the link in our description to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. So FanDuel is our ad today because my favorite play is CeeDee Lamb most receiving yards. I got it at DraftKings at +100, but I saw it this morning on FanDuel at +120. So better odds over on FanDuel. instead of playing the CeeDee Lamb line, instead of playing just the 79.5, which I think has just been bet up to a point where it's lost some luster for me, I think this is a better market. Neighbors coming off the best game of his young career. I think that's why this is plus money. Under normal circumstances, the better quarterback is Dak. The better matchup, if you look at those two cornerbacks for the Giants, are out tonight. So you got some scrambling there. I think you see Daniel Jones going to be doing a little bit more running. So if you take the success that the Giants should have on the ground, I think it's going to take a little bit away from Neighbors. I'm not saying Neighbors has a bad game. He's probably going to have 70 yards and a touchdown. But for plus 100, I think CeeDee Lamb is the bell cow wide receiver of this game. The matchup, the targets he should get, he should be in that 8 or 9 target range. Might be a little bit less for Neighbors. Maybe he lands around 6 or 7. So CeeDee Lamb, most receiving yards for the game, plus 100 on DraftKings is my bet. And sure enough, it's even better over on DraftKings at plus 120. So take a look at that. Good price for Lamb, who I think is going to go off. Let's go to the touchdown liquor cabinet, which everybody loves. And we've had a good amount of success through 3 weeks. I'm usually a humble guy. I'm not one of these asshole cappers that touts like that. But the touchdown liquor cabinet, we hit Jamar Chase last week at plus money. We hit Austin Eckler. I think it was like plus 360. We hit Keon Coleman. His only catch of the game was a touchdown. And my well vodka on Monday Night Football was Luke McCaffrey, who stepped out at the 1.5 yard line. It was almost nuclear what we did. But this touchdown liquor cabinet has been paying off. So if you haven't put in any touchdown bets, hear mine out for tonight. My first one, I'm not going to give you CeeDee Lamb. I do think CeeDee Lamb scores, but it's like minus 120, minus 130. That's a no-no for me. But Devin Singletary at plus 105, I would go half a unit on. It is my top shelf play, but still, call it a gut feeling. Half a unit for me on Devin Singletary. Still plus 105. It's minus 105 on a couple other books. Throw it in a same game parlay at minus 105. 7 red zone carries this season, 2 inside the 5 yard line. And I'm going to pull this stat from my Jones handicap because he's coming up next. But through PFF, I was able to find out how good is this red zone, or how bad, I should say, is this red zone defense for the Dallas Cowboys. Well, Dallas has allowed a touchdown on 80% of the runs within the 5 yard line this season. And they've had 5 or more so far through 3 games. So for teams that have allowed 5 touchdowns within the 5 yard line, I think there's probably 8 or 9 of them. None of them have an 80% rate. Only Dallas owns that high of a conversion rate. So I like Singletary at plus 105 plus money for half a unit. Going down to my mid shelf, kind of hinted with Daniel Jones. He's plus 320 on FanDuel as of probably an hour before this show. I use my odds boost. I got it to plus 480. I love Daniel Jones to score tonight. Jones has 8 red zone rush attempts so far this season. Singletary only has 7. So I like Singletary. I like Jones. I think one of the two definitely get in. I'm going a little bit heavier on Singletary. But Jones at plus 320, you throw the 50% odds boost, and I got it at plus 480, almost 5-1 on Jones. Love that tonight for my first mid-shelf touchdown score. And then my second mid-shelf touchdown score, Brandon Cooks, plus 255, kind of the forgotten man. He's 30 years old now, former first-round pick. He's bounced around the league. I remember him from his time. I remember every which way, but he was New Orleans. He was on New Orleans. He went New England. Rams traded for him. He had the Rams. He was on the Rams when they were in the Super Bowl. Then he got kicked over to Houston, and now he's landed in Dallas these last 2 seasons. He's lost a step. I have no problem saying that, but he's kind of touchdown dependent at this time. Cooks leads the team with 2 end zone targets, not red zone targets, end zone targets so far this season. So I think he's a savvy enough route runner against this Giants team missing its cornerback 2 in its slot corner, where he can take advantage of an inexperienced DB and win in short space. So Cooks at plus 255 is my other mid-shelf touchdown score for tonight. So Jones and Cooks. And then I got to have some well vodka. My well vodka, Daniel Bellinger, tight end for the New York Giants. And again, this is well vodka prices, guys. This is $5. This is a no sweat. Depending how you want to juice your odds. I saw it at plus 1,300. The reason I like Bellinger is I think we see a little bit more of him tonight because they have such a successful pass rush between Micah Parsons on the outside, and then obviously what's his name? Lawrence, not Dexter Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence in the middle. Obviously, he's a middle guy, but if he stunts and comes around, they're going to want that extra lineman there. Bellinger, I think at 13-1, been reading a lot of Giants forums, a lot of Giants message boards. Why isn't Bellinger playing more? I think we could see a little bit more Bellinger this game at 13-1. He's a red zone target. He's a big dude. He's their blocking tight end. It's not Theo Johnson. So I think Bellinger at 13-1. This is a good matchup for him to see an uptick in snaps. But like I said, it's $5 if you're looking for a home run. It was almost Luke McCaffrey on Monday night. Tonight's Well Vaca is Daniel Bellinger. So quick recap. Well, Vaca prices are Daniel Bellinger 1,300, Brandon Cooks plus 255, mid shelf Daniel Jones at plus 320, but I odds boosted to plus 480. Devin Singletary, only go half a unit here, guys, plus 105, or if you're in the minus odds, throw it in your same game parlay. CeeDee Lamb, most receiving yards at plus 100 on DraftKings, plus 120 on FanDuel. I love that. I think he's the most by a country mile. I think he has the most receiving yards tonight. And a defensive prop, which I know you can't throw in your same game parlays. Don't shoot me. Eric Kendricks, linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, over 8.5. Tackles and assists, minus 120. Guys, this is my setup for Week 4 Thursday Night Football. I'm not overly excited for this game like I have been other ones. It's raining. It's a shitty divisional matchup. I think these are two bad teams, but the Cowboys do a good job of picking on bad teams. So that's what I got for you tonight. I will see you back here Sunday at 5:30 to go over Sunday Night Football. Let me know if you're tailing in the comments, and I'll see you guys next week. Or I'll see you guys Sunday. Take care.